Good morning. Welcome everyone. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to the International Day of Ending Racial Discrimination. My name is Mahad Yusuf. I'm the Executive Director of MIdaynta Community Services. On behalf of the youth, the organizing committee, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for participating in this important conference in order to bring awareness to immigration inequality, mental health, and youth justice. Special thanks to MPP Faisal Hassan, who's here with us this morning, and also Stella Muzambi at Kenyan High Commissioner to Canada, who is on conference. And also, I want to thank other dignitaries that were on the call. The purpose of this conference, the International Day of the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, is both the day of recognition and urgent call for action. Discrimination is a serious that has been impacting this community over so many years. Racism continues to poison institutions, social structures, and also everyday life in every society. It continues to drive of persistent inequalities. Over the past 2 decades, MIdaynta Community Service has invited youth, scholars, government officials, law enforcement, faith leaders, to participate in many conferences and roundtables and meetings that we have been organizing to address these youth issues and the community issue at large. The presenters of this conference share their experience and expertise and strategies on the issue that today continue to make news headlines. Coming out of these conferences, call to action was formulated in order to ensure new areas and angles was continued to explore, and solution that was discussed was initiated. Our Black community in Canada is still in crisis. So does the indigenous community. It's important now more than ever, all levels of Canadian government show their political will to support our community. Our young people and their families continue to face fear, systemic racism, gun and gang violence, poverty, marginalization, exclusion, criminalization, discrimination in immigration and education, unemployment, housing, healthcare services, as well as difficulties in accessing financial services. And that must end the day of the elimination of racial discrimination. I believe having such an exceptional and diverse group of speakers today, and panelists and speakers, will drive in-depth insight as well as a potential solution to practical tools of engagement models, methods and mechanisms that will help us forge lasting solution to the current problems facing our community. Your presence today and the participation will greatly drive forth this conversation and engage communities in Ontario and Canada and beyond that will eager to learn more about these topics and how they can be a catalyst for change. I would like to give special thanks to our youth again, and the mothers of the Mending the Crack in the Sky who really supported and organized this conference, whom without none of them, this would not have been, this day that all of us here would not have been possible. Lastly, I would like to thank and recognize today's panelists, our keynote speaker, Amina Mira, and the gracious enough to lend their knowledge and their expertise and towards our ongoing effort to combat hate and racial discrimination. I hope everybody everybody who attended this conference today have a great learning and enjoy today's conference, and as we all work towards the betterment of our community. And I want to thank you again. Thank you so much.
Good morning, greetings, brothers and sisters. I would like first to thank our brother Mahad Yusuf, the executive director of the MIdaynta Community Services, and the and the Somali Youth Organizing Committee and the MIdaynta Community Services for the honor of speaking to you this morning about the International Day of Ending Racial Discrimination. It is a great to see many faces here today, old friends like Amina Mire and others as well. Here, for those that do not know me, allow me to provide a brief background. My name is Faisal Hassan. I was elected first to the Ontario Legislature in 2018, the general election, as the member of the Great Riding of York South-Weston. In the 2018 election, the Ontario NDP elected several black leaders from across the province, and I am proud to serve as the member of the Ontario's first ever Black Caucus. And just a few weekends ago, we elected Janelle Brady as the first black president of the Ontario NDP. As the critic for youth opportunities for the official opposition and a member of the Ontario's Black Caucus, I see and hear of the struggles of the community members daily. Black and racialized Canadians in particular have borne disproportionate effects of the pandemic. Our Black history shows the generations of struggles we have known continue to many ways today, despite the many gains and victories we have had to fight so much for. There is an old saying, we are all in the same boat. Well, whether it is how the pandemic affected the population, or whether it is the day-to-day reality of systemic racism and discrimination that continues to rear its ugly head, we are not all in the same boat. We may be in the same storm, but we all have different boats, and some have none at all. Friends, brothers and sisters and neighbors, events such as this one this morning are so valuable in sharing our experiences with racism and injustices for our community faces. Day in and day out, I know that the pandemic has only highlighted the disparities and the inequities that exist in society. The struggles our community has faced has been enormous, and the effect on their mental health of especially young people, and all is an important area of discussion and action by government and community members. There are so many examples of Black excellence in our community, from local leaders and community organizations doing a tremendous work, to the mothers of the mending the crack in the sky, and the fathers, and yes, absolutely, yes. And fathers and grandparents helping to raise a family and instill good community values of helping others and standing up against injustice. I'm inspired every day, and I appreciate the advocacy of the community-minded groups like MIdaynta Community Services. Yes. As the youth opportunities critic for the official opposition, I meet young people across the province on a regular basis. I'm so inspired by how they know black history and how they have the energy and commitment to try to do their best for themselves and their community, often when it is not easy to do so. Friends, brothers and sisters and neighbors, as we lead up to a provincial election, I can tell you that the official opposition has a busy schedule. I'll be tabling many bills that include recognizing Black Mental Health Day in March, and with the close collaboration of the National Council of Canadian Muslims, a bill to create strong legislation that takes real action to stamp out Islamophobia, white supremacy, and hate crimes, our London Family Act. Friends, I see an inspiring series of panel discussions this morning and this afternoon, that particularly on a day like the International Day for the Ending of Racial Discrimination serves to remind us of our past and learn for the future. As a Somali Canadian, I know well, and I do remember, that how the federal government treated Somali refugees who were in the 90s fleeing fear of persecution. This was not without a controversy and a struggle, as many refugees without proper documents faced unnecessary barriers and delays by the government of the day. And that's a shame. And this continues to this day, discriminating Somali refugees to this day. Yeah, absolutely. We need to do something about it. This amounted to systemic racism and left refugees to a lack of support and targeted Somali refugees where they need help the most. Our government of the day discriminated Somali refugees, and it is the history books, and it is continuing to this day. Somali refugees are denied the rights to be a path to permanent residence here in Canada, and we should be speaking loud and clear. Discrimination must end when it comes to immigration. Yes. Friends, too many people in Ontario face systemic racism each and every day. We all need to join together to push back and fight injustices, tear down barriers that exist for racialized people, and call out prejudice and racism when we see it. I thank you again for the opportunity to join you in this discussion this morning and this afternoon. I will leave you with today with the words of the late Desmond Tutu, an African son, who passed away on December 26th of last year. His words inspire me. There comes a point where we need to stop just pulling people out of the river. We need to go upstream and find out why they are falling in. Well, thank you, brothers and sisters, and thank you to everyone.